This is Charlene and Gail, and we are here with Boss Ladies TV, and we're so happy you could join us. I know it's Sunday night at 7, and maybe your weekend's winding down, and you have time to watch us either on your phone or on your computer or however you like to watch your shows. We have an amazing guest today. His name is Shawn White. Shawn is the founder of Mindset Consultants and Strategists. He's a graduate of Dream University. He's Team Inspiration founder. His hobbies are books. He loves to learn music, basketball, photography, American football. And I will say this on the photography. He puts great pics on his site all the time. And I'm like, whoa, my granddaughter does photography. She does that. And I'm like, wow, he's really good at that. Now I know why, because he loves photography. But yeah, he has some great pics on his site. If you haven't hooked up with Shawn, be sure and do so and link up with him and get to be friends with him and get to know him. You will not be sorry. Shawn's a good friend of mine, and I really, really enjoy following him. Shawn, we're going to turn it over to you and let you tell us more about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. And ladies, first and foremost, it's always an absolute joy and a privilege as far as to be on your podcast. And anytime I have an opportunity really to bring value and to really motivate and encourage and inspire the masses, it's just a true joy and an honor. So I truly appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, just want to go ahead and give you a short version because I want us ready to jump into this. So, again, my name is Shawn White, and I reside here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. Been there for about 26 years. Also had an opportunity to spend some time down in Miami, Florida, in which I still have family. I'm down there to this day. And I've been here in Atlanta, Georgia for a little bit over 4 going on 5 years. A little bit more about me is that I have over 15 years of sales and customer service and marketing experience. Did a little bit of everything, worked in travel industries, the hotel industry, business to business, door to door, you name it. I think I done sold everything pretty much except for air. And that's not a, cliche, but that's the truth. Also about me as well, which I've been in this industry for about 7 years. And I love to tell the story because the first 3.5 years of my journey, I pretty much struggled. I struggled mightily. Every mistake that you can think of as far as in this space, I pretty much did. Okay. Made a little bit of money, lost a lot of money, been scammed a few times, also homeless as well during that process. What really made me rewire my mind is when I had divine intervention when I was homeless and pretty much lost everything. And at that point, that's where Team Inspiration was actually birthed because of the fact that it was revealed to me that I would be on a journey to motivate, encourage, and inspire the masses, that it's not about me, that it's about many others. So by me being a part of this journey, I have to rewire my mind and my brain in order to be a greater servant. And from that point forward, I've just been able to expand and grow. You are now listening to a gentleman that not only is a thought leader, not only that's a speaker, an author, a coach, a podcaster, but just someone that has a heart and a mission and a passion for the people. And guess what? This is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Back to you guys.
Haven't you authored a couple of books? What are the name of your 2 books you have out?
Yeah, so the name of the 2 books, in which has really been a true blessing. The first one is Aligned for Your Greatness, and the second one is From Broke to Greatness. And essentially, those 2 books was birthed out of idea, which really it talks a little bit more so as far as with my life. The first one is which the character by the name of Antoine. It just really it sets a scene of how it was like for Antoine growing up, and just more so from his environment and from where he came from. The reason why he struggled so much is because of the fact of his mindset and the people in which that he was surrounded with. He did not know as far as there was a better life. So as you're reading that book, you will be on a journey as far as with Antoine, and you will notice the steps in which that he took in order to be aligned for his greatness. From broke to greatness, it continues on with another young lady by the name of Kenya. And it talks about as far as her background as well, but from a female's point of view. So the first one, it talks about the man or the gentleman. And the second one, it comes from the perspective of a woman and all the challenges and things in which that she endured. And yet you notice the journey and the progression of her coming from that particular mindset, from that environment to on the road of becoming great when she discovers herself. But then
That's
there's also
awesome.
a third book in the mix as well, which I'm working on that.
Yeah. Yay. Well, I want everybody to get those books because I know you will benefit from reading them. I followed Shawn for a long time, and every time I hear Shawn, I learn something new. I get more inspired. He's very motivating. Very
Thank
motivating.
you.
Shawn is a coach too, by the way, so you can get with him if you need some coaching.
Thank you.
All right. Gail, do you have a question for Shawn? Or
Yeah. So, Shawn, hi. It's good to have you on
Hello.
the show.
Awesome smile.
What is one tip that you would want every young entrepreneur or even seasoned entrepreneur to know? Maybe that secret that would help them just keep to the course.
Yeah, that's a great question. First and foremost, you have to understand of who you are as an individual.
Right.
So many times when we're on this journey, it's more so that, and yeah, I mean, I totally get it. You know, we all have our aspirations. I'm pretty sure you heard this a lot, you know, more time freedom, more money, as far as like firing my boss and different things of that nature. And all that is great. All that's amazing and definitely something to shoot for. But what happens is that because that's at the surface level, so to speak, a lot of times we get caught up in this whirlwind of trying to chase those goals and yet not truly finding out more so about us. What are our skills? What are our talents? What are things that we're truly passionate about? What are things that truly light us up, right? Because we're so conditioned by society just to be so goal driven and goal dominant, right? And we just have like tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is that we lose ourselves in the process and we have an identity crisis. A lot of us are floating around, and even for me, it took me a long time because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know as far as what were my skill sets, what are my talents, right? At some point in time, I did, but because of life and because of being rejected and because I didn't fit this certain mold of what people perceive for me to be, those gifts and talents were buried for a long time. So going through life, not knowing who I am, trying this, trying that, trying this, trying that, trying to appease others at the same time, I've lost myself. So the greatest tip I can recommend anyone is find out who you are. Find out who the core essence of who you are, what lights you up, what is going to get you more so to motivate and encourage yourself on a daily basis. Because once you discover that, everything else is gravy. Everything else in which that you can learn. You can learn the skills, you can learn the techniques and everything else. But if you don't know who you are, you're going to have a tough road ahead of you. You really, really are. And that's something which I had to learn through trial and error and really the hard way.
Yeah, that
so
goes
you
back
really
to your
start
topic a
with
lot.
knowing who you are and
I'm sorry, come again?
knowing. Go ahead, Gail. Were you saying something?
I just said that goes back to his topic about start where you're at in a roundabout
Uh-huh.
way.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say too. Kind of tell us if, let's say, you're struggling, you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't know where to start, maybe you don't feel like you have enough skills, you don't have confidence in yourself, you're terrified to get on camera, all of those things. I mean, how does somebody just start when you feel like the whole world's sort of pressing against you? How do you get enough gumption to get over the overwhelm and get started?
It's a great question. That actually reminds me as far as when I got started. I tell the story a lot as far as when I do my Facebook lives. And I remember I was that individual that used to see people such as yourself and be like, wow, this is so amazing. I would love to go ahead and do that one day. But yet I had all these excuses and all these self-limited beliefs or doubts or insecurities that pretty much was telling me, come on, Shawn, are you serious, man? You remember when we did that before and how the way that failed? Or why would anybody want to go ahead and listen to you? You know, you stutter too much, or you're not as articulate. You don't have the big houses and cars. And all these things used to dominate me. So my suggestion, and this is something that has worked for me, is that I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision, and it was more so of, okay, Shawn, you've been called to do something. This goes back to knowing who you are. You've been called to do something. You know you have as far as on what it takes. Why? Because you've been told that you have as far as on what it takes. So you have to make a decision, and you have to say to yourself, okay, I have a choice. I can either do this afraid, and I can stumble, and I can mess up and learn from it, right? Or I can just sit there and allow for that constantly, that same story, that same racket, that what I like to call BS, to continue to cripple me and for me to not get anywhere. In which, honestly, what good is that going to do? Because if I stay in that type of mindset, I'm just going to create resentment. I'm going to create anger, jealousy. And guess what? It's not benefiting anyone. It's definitely not benefiting me. And if anything, it's making me sick. So I would say make a decision. You have to make a decision and say, you know what? I'm going to start. No matter how scary it looks like, no matter how frightening it looks like, but I'm going to go ahead and start. Because when I started doing my Facebook Lives, I was absolutely horrified and afraid. My Facebook Lives used to be so much as, hey guys, how's everything going? Uh, this is Shawn White here, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe. Yeah. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and um, hmm. Hey guys, listen, I'm like super duper nervous, but the topic in which I'm gonna come to you about, and so I was just very insecure, and I doubted myself, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And believe me, and when I did it, my family members and friends, they laughed at me, they cracked jokes. I mean, it was just downright, it was crazy. But guess what? I didn't die. I looked at it. It was a few people that commented, which I was like, besides family members and friends, and I was like, oh, okay, getting somewhere. So then I looked at it and I said, okay, this is where I can improve. So then I did it again. Still stumbling, still nervous, things of that nature. But I started noticing when I continued to do it, I started noticing, okay, you know what? I can do this. Right. And guess what? I just kept improving and improving and improving. So then I said to myself, okay, well, since that I'm on a roll here, let me connect with people that are actually doing this at a very high level. So that's when I started following individuals and started watching their Facebook Lives and seeing as far as on how the way that they would present themselves. How was their lighting? What was the wording? How long would it be? How was their voice inflection? How was their tonality? Right? At what point, why would they say this at this particular moment? Why would they call back at this certain point in time? So these things I would start to learn and pick up. And then from there, I just became obsessed. Literally obsessed. Again, that's what the decision. Because when you make a decision, there's a certain synergy and an energy behind that. And I can go on, and I can give you the full Monty of that, but decision. You have to make a decision.
You have to make a decision. And we all started with Facebook Lives. I was the same way. I was just terrified of it. And I would try to get 3 lines out, and I would rehearse those 3 lines. I'd go video record it. I'd turn it off immediately and delete it, go back to the bathroom and practice. I mean, it is a process. But if you don't keep doing it, it's like riding a bicycle. If you fall off once and you don't get back on it, you're never going to ride that bicycle, or you're never going to drive that car. You have to get back up and keep going. And when you do keep going, you will make it. You'll get over your fears. And also, too, a lot of the people that are at the top of the industry nowadays, the top earners, came from backgrounds where they really started with nothing. And they just, they did until they worked up. You increase your skills. It's like you've written books. You're a podcaster. You're a coach. Just look how far you've come. But if you had let fear overcome you, you'd still be where you were. People need to get unstuck. What you think? Talk about that a little bit. What's good advice for getting unstuck? Step out of that fear.
No one understand that anything in life that's worth having, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to be able to sacrifice and put the time. I've noticed that we're in a society right now where people want things as of 2 months ago, right? Not too many people are really willing to put the work. Not too many people are willing to put the sacrifice of time because of the fact that they see it and they want it now. They want it right now, and they want to they just want to shortcut the process. And in order to achieve greatness, and in order to achieve a legacy, to where people can be proud of the work that you put in, you can't cheat the process, nor can you rush the process. You have to get to a point where you say, you know what? It doesn't matter what it looks like. Doesn't matter as far as on what it feels like. You're going to go ahead and do it, and you're going to go ahead and do it anyway. For me, I had to get over this notion of not being perfect. And that was something that, because when I came into the industry, like I said, because I had a sales and customer service background, I was more so of a C type of personality, right? I would dot my I's, cross my T's. I was like super detailed. And it was like, okay, if things don't fall in this manner, then I'm not going to do it. So I had to understand that, okay, in this journey, in this industry, that's not the way it works. The way it works is that you put the work in, you fail, you find out as far as what you did right, what you did wrong, you come back to the table, you do it again, come from a different manner, you fail, come back to it, assess it, adjust, go back and do it again, fail, okay? And then you find yourself, okay, wait a minute, why am I failing so much, man? Like, what is going on? The mindset of an entrepreneur, of every successful person that you would meet, anyone in which that you would read about, they can tell you on average, they don't fail so many times to the point that they embrace that. Not so much of saying like, okay, I'm looking as far as to fail, but they understand that because when I fail, this is how I learn and this is how I grow.
Right.
The average person, if they fail maybe 2 or 3 times, they're like, oh, you know what? This is not for me. Maybe I should be doing something else. And that's the reason why they stay broke. Not so much as far as money-wise, but they stay broken spiritually and with that mindset. But in this industry, you understand and you realize through the power of repetition, through the power of not giving up, through the power of just having action and trying different things and understanding more of yourself as a person and putting it out there and understanding like, okay, you know what? This may not reach everyone. I may not be able to hit my target on this particular end, but let me go ahead and learn and grow from this and see on why this is not happening. Let me go ahead and readjust and align so that way I can learn and grow from this in order to hit my goals. And then when you hit your goals, this is another thing too. When you hit your goals, yes, celebrate, of course, but understand that, you know what? You hit that goal. Now it's time to get to work because now it's time to hit your other goal. Successful people don't settle on their results. Very rarely, they may celebrate maybe for like a day or 2 or so, but then they're right back at it. Mm-hmm. They're right back at it because they understand that success loves speed. Mm-hmm. They understand that, they embrace it. And the thing about successful people is that they love the journey. They love the challenge. They love solving problems, how to get better. Successful people are most certainly readers. They love to read. They read more than the average person. So this journey, this process for whatever you want, you have to become obsessed. You have to become a totally different person than where people see you. They're like, oh my goodness, like, is this Gail that I know 4 or 5 years ago? Is this Miss Shirley, what? You a totally different person. It's like you changed. Yeah, I have. For the better. Why
Mhm.
are you still the same person that I known about 5 or 7 years ago? Something's wrong with that. So I hope I answered your question.
You did. You did. Gail, do you have a
Okay.
question? I have.
I'm taking notes like crazy. Let me tell you. Just a couple of things. Was going back even to myself when I first started. I'm terrified of speaking in public. I was one of them girls who took, speech to the last in college and did everything I could not to stand up in front of someone because I would literally throw up. Seriously, I would throw up. Today, I sometimes still throw up, maybe afterwards. But
Wait till
drive
I.
pushing. Yeah, but I got to the point within my life and with my business and within my group that I realized I had to grow. And for me, growing was stepping outside of my box and doing these things that challenged me and pushed me to the higher limits. I mean, my very first presentation, honest to God, I got on it. I knew exactly what I was supposed to say because I had it rehearsed. I introduced myself, and not another word came out of my mouth. I was sitting there like, oh, okay, what am I going to do, Bill? What are you going to say? I finally had to call my mentor and say, somebody's got to jump on because I can't talk. I mean, that's how
Mhm,
I just froze. So,
mhm.
but I agree. But another thing really fast, when let's talk a little bit about, I know you talked to us a little bit about how to start this journey. Can you give us some tips on what you just talked about? Because you gave us so much information, but maybe give us a little tidbit tips on someone who might be like me and might be stuck. And I know you told us how to do it, but what if you're actually in a position where you're really, really scared and you can't jump out of that? You try over and over and over, and it just doesn't seem to work. Is it the baby steps you got to take? I mean, how do we get to a point to where we're confident in ourselves to be able to be confident in ourselves?
You hit it right on the button, Gail. Baby steps.
Okay.
Baby
And,
steps.
and that's what I started with too. Even today, like when I get on a presentation, I have to tell my mind, okay, Gail, you're looking for that one person. Don't think about 300 people being up there. You're going to connect with that one person. So find that one person out there somewhere that you can connect with. Because if I didn't, I would go crazy trying to figure out how I was going to do the presentation.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that as well because that's something which one of my mentors told me that when you're doing a Facebook Live, don't look at it as far as like you're trying to reach everybody because honestly, you're really, really not. But you want to focus your message like as if you're speaking to one person. Doesn't matter if 300 people, 300,000 people are watching Facebook Live or no one is watching Facebook Live. You always want to focus your message and deliver it to for that one person that you are looking for that is totally getting it. They resonate as far as with your message
Mm-hmm.
and they are getting value from it. That's number one. Secondly, also what you would do is that again, you would emulate and follow those that are already doing it. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
greatest things in which that I have learned and adopted is by watching others that's doing Facebook Lives and again seeing as far as on how they're like, how's their personality, how is their delivery, how are they preparing, are they using notes, are they looking down to use their notes, or are they ad libbing it? It will be certain things in which I will follow. Thirdly, also in addition, personal development is so important. I would, as far as especially too when you're planning on doing Facebook Lives, I highly recommend as far as we do to take some courses on public speaking. On YouTube, it's so much when it comes to public speaking. You can literally teach yourself in terms of public speaking and communication.
Okay.
Reading is super, super important. You want to read books that's going to help you along your journey, especially when it comes to mindset. A couple of books in which I could recommend, which are definitely a writer downer. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, one of the best books I ever read in my life. The second one, Go Pro by Eric Worre.
Yeah.
Go Pro by Eric Worre, another game changer. Another one in which I personally love by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Oh.
That book there, listen, I can do another Facebook Live on that. There are so many books. So I would recommend for you to do that. But remember, overall, these are baby steps. Understand that you're not going to get this all in one day. I understand that you would be terrified. You would be like, every single time you want to do it, you just get like super nervous and you feel like you're going to pass out. But guess what? Sir, most of the time, when you want to get to that next level, this is all part of the growing phase. You're going to go through some growing pains. It's almost like as far as with women, and obviously you ladies know, as far as if you have children, that during the labor stage, you're going through those pains, and you're going through that, and it's wow, and it's like, okay, like this is not what I signed up for. I just want to have the baby. Come on now, right? But you're going through
Look
those
for the
pains, and
easy
it's so
button.
and right, and it's so excruciating. It's so excruciating. But when you see at the time of delivery and you see that beautiful baby boy or baby girl, and you're like, okay, you know what? It was so totally worth it. But you couldn't escape those growing pains. So likewise for the individual that may be saying to themselves, like, okay, I really want to do this. But every single time I get nervous, I get scared, I get frantic, I black out and freeze. It's okay. You are not alone. You're not alone. But you have to go through the growing pains. Go through that. Practice if you need to, even with an exercise called the mirror theory. You know how, as far as you stand in front of a mirror and you talk to yourself, visualize. This helped me out a lot too. Let me move up a little bit because I love talking about this because I remember when I was in the shelter and I was actually doing this. Amen. When you do the mirror exercise, you look straight in the mirror and you visualize your audience. You visualize as far as what you want to say. You are seeing as you're speaking in the mirror. You're seeing their reaction. You're seeing as far as on what they have on, their mood, how the way they're responding to your words. Are they saying ooh, ah? Are they motivated? Are they from the very beginning when they come in, they're sitting like this, but now when you're speaking, they're like this. Then they're like this. And they're almost captivated, so to speak. These things I used to visualize in my mind. So when you do your Facebook Live or YouTube or when you come on camera, you have that picture framed in your mind. So now this helps you as far as calm down the nerves and allows for you to get in flow, so to speak, or get into a certain zone in order for you to do your message. And believe me, guys, you will be surprised when you do that because you may not think that it was good. You may think it was awful, but when you see the responses, you will be like, wow. And that will give you the confidence to keep going. Even if you don't get responses, you know that you know what? I did my best, but I know there's room to improve. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, that was very, very, very interesting, Shawn, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking to our audience. You've given them lots of good advice. And audience, I want you to, anyone out there, if you want to, one, look up Shawn's books and read them, connect with him on Facebook. Shawn, is that the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mostly hang out on Facebook. That's pretty much my home. That is my jam. That's where I'm in the process of creating legacy. And then from there, I'll branch out other platforms. But Facebook, I love to hang out and just really create value. So definitely feel free to look me up, Shawn White, Atlanta, Georgia. When you go to my profile, more times than not, because it's pretty much the same. I still have the lighthouse. I have the lighthouse for my cover photo, and there's actually a story behind that too. I don't know if I have enough time, but the
I was going to say,
lighthouse.
I'd like to hear that story. I had that down
Sure.
on my.
Awesome. So with the lighthouse, and this is something in which that I learned from one of my mentors, Miss Stacy Hall, which by the way is a beautiful person. By the way, the lighthouse, it represents each and every individual. I remember going through the exercise, and okay, better yet, this is what we can do. Everybody right now, this is the best way of me explaining this. I want you to go ahead and close your eyes, each and every single one of you. This is what she did for us, and it was so fun. Now, when you close your eyes, I want you to picture a lighthouse. Okay? Doesn't matter. It can be tall, it can be small, it can be wide, it can be white, black, green, purple. It doesn't matter. Once you have that picture of that lighthouse, please feel free to let me know. Say, I got it.
I've got it.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now, with your lighthouse, you get the option to pick on whether you have 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, or 4 lights. Remember, it's your lighthouse. You can make them as bright as you want, as dim as you want. Once you have that picture, please let me know how many lights do you have. 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
4? Okay, perfect. Excellent. Keep that.
I took 1 bright light.
Okay, perfect. No problem. No problem. So 1 bright light for Gail and 4 for Miss Southern Gal. Excellent. Now, I want you to picture the sea. It can be Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Red Sea, whatever. I want you to pick an ocean, and I want you to picture it to be dark, almost very stormy. The sea is rocky, it's very choppy, it's raining hard, strong wind. Okay. Also, you're going to see a bunch of boulders from left, right, north, south, east, west. Okay. Now, for Miss Southern Gal, because you said you have 4 lights, right? Remember, north, south, east, west, you have boulders. I want you to go ahead and turn off 1 of your lights on your lighthouse, and let me know on which one you turned off.
The north.
Okay, perfect. The north. So that means, as far as the boulders that was in the north end, they were counting on that particular light. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So because of the fact now they're in darkness because they don't have that as far as on the northern end. So what they're going to do, they're going to go either to the south, east, or west, right, to get more light because they cannot see. Or they may go to Gail's because she has the 1 big bright light. So now remember, where everything which is going on, right? You are there. You are stationary. You are that lighthouse. They are looking for you to be that rock. Turn off 1 of your lights for me, please.
Turn on the second light.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Which one did you turn off?
South.
Okay, perfect. So now north and south is actually off. So all we have is east and west, and we have Gail's light, which is pretty centered. Okay, awesome. So now, let me ask you this, Miss Southern Gal. What is the likelihood, because you only have your lights for your east and west, what is the likelihood of those boulders that was in the north or south actually crashing? What is the likelihood?
They probably will.
Okay, they probably will. Okay, but they still have the east and the west, and they also have Gail's light to go ahead and depend on. Excellent. Ms. Southern Gal, to kind of speed this up, I want you to turn off both lights, and Gail, I want you to turn your light off. Once you ladies have done that, please let me know.
So you want to turn them off?
Done.
Yes, turn them off.
Done.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now we have a situation here. The boaters, they don't have any kind of navigation. They cannot see anything. Because you ladies done turned your lights off, what is the likelihood of them having a crash and having a disaster?
Pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty high.
How does that look like to you right now as they're having a disaster, as they're having a crash, as they're screaming for help, but they cannot see because they have no direction, no navigation? How is that looking like?
Looks pretty dim.
It looks very bad, right? Okay. Now, I want you to turn your lights on, and I want you to open up your eyes, both of you ladies. Okay. The reason why I had you go through that exercise because the lighthouse represents you as the person. A lot of times, and this is what I learned from Miss Stacy, a lot of times we get so caught up in the business or the opportunity or the product or the service, and we figure that, okay, well, you know what? Because I have a business, I have a product, I have a brand, I got all these different goals, and I'm trying to make money and things like that. And we push that along the boulders, aka our audience, our tribe, and they're appalled by it because of the fact, number one, your light is out. So that's all they see. But just like how the way you turned your lights on, you are that lighthouse. You are that rock. You are that individual that provides value. You are the individual that let people know more about your core beliefs, your values, who you are, what you stand for, what are you about, what are you looking to do, what is your direction, your inspiration, your motivation, your credibility, the core essence of you. Thank you. Exactly. So now, very important, very, very important in this journey, when you have that type of mind frame of working on you, the core essence of Gail, of Miss Southern Gal, and when you let your light shine each and every single day, which you're using this platform, of course, now people get to see the real you, and they are so attracted by it. And when you have something that essentially they have a problem and you have that solution, now they come to you and they say, yes, thank you, Gail. Thank you, Miss Shirley. You are indeed the lighthouse that I've been looking for. When she explained that to me, it was game over. I looked at it a totally different manner, and that was on top of what I already learned. So be the lighthouse.
The thing too, that's so important today with COVID and so many people being out of work, so many people maybe never going back to their full-time jobs, and even if they do, there's always that they feel insecure now about their jobs, can be gone in a heartbeat. And I
Correct.
think if we are not going to be the lighthouse to save these people, to cast something light out for them, they're going to be lost and they're going to crash. I mean, that is such an important analogy nowadays. And I think of that often. I think, if there's somebody out there I can help, just bring in that little extra money and they build their skills and they can bring in more money or more money. That's what you want to do. Somebody showed me the light. Somebody showed you guys the light. And it's our duty to show it to other people. Because we don't,
Correct.
they're going to crash and burn in the dark.
Correct. You got
exactly it. Right. Very powerful.
You got
Very powerful. I'm glad you shared that. That was good.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
We have Deronda online. She had 2 lights on her lighthouse. So she was following along with us. So, well, I appreciate it, Shawn. I want y'all to get in touch with Shawn, and you'll learn a lot from him. And if you want to really get started, he's a good guide and a good coach and a good person to follow. So, we appreciate it, Shawn.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wonderful interview. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you, Shawn, so very much.
Absolutely. Oh, and can I do my ending quote, in which I love to talk about? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much, and I'm going to end this like I've been doing like most of my lives and everything else in which I do. And if what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, may God be the glory, ladies and gentlemen. We take no credit for absolutely none of it. You guys are all amazing. We appreciate your time. It has been an absolute joy and a privilege. And by His grace and mercy, I look forward to speaking with you all next time. Thank you.
We appreciate that. It's a really good closing, and we do appreciate your time. And yes, we give God the glory for anything. Amen. Nothing we do is by us. It's by God's help that we do it. Appreciate it. Right. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to sign off.
Bye, everyone. Thank you again, Shawn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.